being innovative, being creative, coming up with solutions to problems, exploiting opportunities is not hard. We just make it sound like it's hard sometimes.
Great content and just finished up wonderfully.
Hi, I'm Jeff Havens, excited to talk to you about Uncrapify Your Future. Most innovation keynotes begin by telling you that the world is changing faster than ever before, and you better come up with something big pretty soon or else you're going to get left behind. And if you want that kind of fear-based messaging, then go find somebody else. But if you want your attendees to understand that innovation is easy and that they already have all the skills necessary in order to do it, then Uncrapify Your Future is for you. We are going to outline the 3-step process that every innovation in every industry has followed from the beginning of time. It is not complicated, it is not rocket science, and by the end of our time together, people are going to be excited about coming up with new ideas.
Because how many of you, show of hands, have had to suffer through this before? A lot of you have. And if you have, I'm assuming the subject was introduced to you something like this. Everything you're doing right now is about to be obsolete. The world is changing faster than ever before, and if you do not come up with some massive game-changing industry shakeup in the next 18 seconds, your company is going to spiral into oblivion. Thank you for listening. I've also got a book. I'm sure you've heard people talk about innovation like this. And it isn't useful. This is not the province of some privileged minority of geniuses. It is built into our DNA. There are only 3 things you have to do, and every one of them is ridiculously easy. The first step in your 3-step process for coming up with your next big thing, your next breakthrough, ask a question. Every innovation begins with a question. That is always 100% true. That question can be an attempt to exploit a potential opportunity or an attempt to solve an existing problem. But you don't even need to know which approach you're taking. You just need to have a question. That's where innovation starts. Without a question, there's simply no place to begin. Coffee cup holders. How can I keep from burning the crap out of myself when I drink coffee out of a paper cup? The Marshall Plan. How can we avoid the mistakes of the Versailles Treaty and prevent the possibility of World War III? Reality television. Do you think that people would enjoy making fun of idiots in hot tubs? The answer is yes. And if this can work, your next idea can too. And if by any miracle you cannot think of a single question to help you get started on this journey, I've got 11 of them for you right now. What are some interesting things that our competitors are doing that we should maybe copy? If our core business suddenly stopped making money, how else might we generate revenue? What frustrates our customers, and what can we do to fix it? Why do we do things the way we do them, and might there be a better way? Now, I'm certain that you have asked yourself some of those questions before, and I'm also certain that you have questions I didn't just list. And what that means is that you are already innovating. You are already in the middle of this process, and you will continue to be innovating for as long as questions keep occurring to you.
Jeff was able to blend humor with real solid lessons, so the laughter and the learning packaged together was just an outstanding presentation.
So that is the first step, okay? Ask a question. The second is to think about possible answers to that question, which should be obvious. You have a question, you're going to need an answer. So this should be the easiest thing in the world. But this is the part of the innovative process where we most commonly stop. This is where we usually get stuck. And it's not because you can't think, because you obviously can. You're all very intelligent or you wouldn't be here. It's that we've been lying to ourselves. All of us honestly believe that we are masters of multitasking, that we can do 2 or 3 or 5 things all at the same time without sacrificing speed or efficiency. We brag about it, and we're lying to ourselves. When you're working on something and get interrupted, you stop working on the first thing, address the next thing, and then return to the first thing. You do not do them both at once. The only exception to this rule, the only instances in which our brains are capable of engaging in 2 mentally intensive exercises at the same time, is when one of those things requires so little thought that our brain can go on autopilot. This will include things like long walks, certain types of exercise, monotonous car trips where you know the route and don't need to GPS anything. Incidentally, the places where I'm guessing the majority of your best ideas have come to you. In these moments, we engage a part of our brain called the anterior cingulate cortex, which is basically responsible for paying attention to our environment for us so that we do not get surprised by a predator or something while we are otherwise occupied. This is the part of your brain that allows you to stay on the road while you're daydreaming. And I know you've been there before and you've snapped out of it and you've had to ask yourself, what happened to the last 10 miles? This is the part of your brain that allows you to continue showering yourself while you are daydreaming. And I know you've been there before and you've snapped out of that and you've had to ask yourself, did I actually use the shampoo? If you want to speed up, if you want to see your business blowing past your competition because you are coming up with new and better ideas at a faster rate than they are, if this is actually genuinely important to you, you first have to slow down. I know that sounds like a contradiction, but your best ideas are going to come to you in what feel like moments of idleness, in moments of quiet reflection, or in messy, meandering conversations with others that allow you to flesh your ideas out. So step one is to ask that question. Step two is to give yourself some time, some undistracted time to think about good answers to that question. And then step three is to do whatever you thought of. That is it. It is so simple. It is almost embarrassing to share. But this is the step that every single one of us are good at. All of us know how to work towards a goal once we know what the goal is. And in this respect, there is basically no difference between business as usual, which requires you to do work, and pursuing an innovative solution, which requires you to do work. They are exactly the same. You do this all the time at home. Questions come to you whether you want them to or not. Problems and opportunities come up all the time. How are we going to save enough money to retire? Should we move the family so I can take that new job? These questions come to you, and what do? Well, you have conversations. You talk to yourself, you talk to your spouse, you talk with your family, and you figure out an idea, and then you know what you do? You execute on that strategy. And if it works, that's fantastic. And if it doesn't work, well, then you change the idea, you have some more conversations, you come up with a new plan, and you execute that. You have been doing this forever in your personal life, and it is absolutely no different at work. We sometimes talk about innovation as though it requires you to have a completely new way of thinking. That is absolutely not true. You want innovation in 4 words? This is the entire process. Ask, think, do, and repeat. That is all it is. That is all it ever has been. And every single one of you not only has been doing it your entire life, but can do it anytime you want with anything you want.
Jeff was awesome. By far one of the best presentations I've ever heard. He kept me engaged the whole time. It was incredible.
So we are going to look at an innovation that every one of you used in order to get here to the MDRT meeting, wheeled luggage. All of you have this, and all of us have this man to thank, Robert Plath, the former Northwest airline pilot who built the first rollerboard in his garage workshop back in 1987. And before I really get into this, can I just say that I think it is amazing that we didn't get this stuff until the late 80s. Let us look at the chronology of human invention. We have the radio, television, people in space, wheels on luggage. That's the order. It should have been the other way around. We put wheels on the moon before we put it onto luggage. Before his invention, we would go to the airport with our stupid hard-cased luggage and then put it on a cart with wheels. The wheels were right there.